Could that just put him over the edge?
I'm not too sure. I don't think they did well.
He's a bully.
I'm just so sick and tired. I'm hanging on a wire, a foot over the fire, and it's burning. I can feel it inside. Done with the same cliche. Done with the day after day. There's got to be a way. Now is the time to break the tide. I'll live, I'll die for what is wrong and what is right. I'll take the pain for all the ones without a name. To be invincible, we'll be invincible.
They still have a lot of holes to fill.
He didn't get fired. He didn't get fired. No, he didn't get fired. He never got his contract renewed.
Hey guys, welcome back to Two Guys in Hockey Talk. This is sponsored to you by the Sports Empire Network. Get all your podcast needs following football, baseball, hockey, basketball, wrestling. And I'm sure if you're interested in soccer, you might just be able to jump in there too. Anyway, check out the gang over at Sports Empire Network. Glad to be back for another edition. I'm Evan Rev Reynolds, and I got my co-host here,
Pawel, the cat insider's ignorant. How are you guys doing? Evan, how are you?
Fabulous, man. I'm ready to lay it up for another conversation.
I have a whiskey because we got a lot to talk about, and this is going to continue to go down, and the rants are going to continue to escalate. Cheers
All right,
to you.
cheers.
Sir.
Cheers to you guys.
Welcome to
that's
Season 5, Episode 12. We are back, baby. It's just the two of us tonight. We got a lot of content to get through. We've got some stuff to share with you from all around the league as well as beyond the world of hockey. Lots of news, lots of updates. Remember, guys, our website, go check it out. We've got articles there, ongoing, continually up there. I got another one up there today. But Evan, how was your week?
My week has been a busy, packed week. I got lots happening. It's been a tough one to keep up on because there is a lot of hockey news, not just in the NHL, but going on around the world. And a lot of news that's happening is not actually played on the ice. Quick note, I have a little something going on here, and I see that Zilla has called me out tonight. Ev, it is not playoffs. And I'm sure this is what she is referring to. And the truth is I'm getting ready for Christmas, and I need to be a pirate. Arg, mate! I can't hear you. I'm going to be a SpongeBob pirate with the kids this Christmas. So I want to color this gray in a couple of weeks. So you'll see me for 2 more weeks with this baby.
It's good to know that we can finally match and look somewhat similar. Do you want me to lend you some hair? I've got quite a bit of it coming in. So
yeah, I can definitely appreciate it. Okay, let's jump into it.
Where do you want to get into?
Okay. Why don't we start right off the top with some of the, again, I think before Pawel, maybe we'll start sharing on some stuff here around his thoughts, and I'll chime in here and there. Let's first, before we talk about some off ice happenings, we just want to update for those that have not been familiar. Most people know around the Boston Bruins and Milan Lucic. First of all, I'm just going to get your take on how this gets managed. Let's face it, when you're dealing with stuff that's off ice and at home, there's a lot of facts from my point of view that don't get out there. We know that Milan Lucic has gone into the NHLPA, NHL substance program. Again, what that means does not mean that you have maybe one guy at fault only. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But sometimes when it is a part of the program, because there's certain things you have to do. And I think that what we need to do is not just start throwing stones just because someone is in the limelight, right? You know, and granted, it's not a good thing. It's not a good sign. And anyway, get your take on what's happening over there for the Boston Bruins.
100%. And before I give that, I will just say, look at someone like Spencer Knight out in Florida who struggled, and people thought, oh, he's abusing substances. Automatically, people go to substances. That wasn't the case. It was the pressure of playing in a market like Florida, the high intensity, the execution that he had to put out there to be the best of the best, follow up by Bobrovsky. And he went in there because he couldn't handle the pressure in that time at that age. Remember, these kids are between the ages of 18 to 22. Most of them coming in, it's a lot. Now, in relation to this situation, the NHL hasn't really made a statement yet, which is interesting, but my condolences and thoughts go out specifically, and my worry, to the Lucic family, specifically his wife and children and those around them. Yeah. They need the support more than ever, and that's where the Boston Bruins organization, who in the past have done very good overall in helping people, should step forward and help them out. The coach, Jim Montgomery, the team captain, Brad Marchand, they made their comments. Lucic, for whatever reason, made an egregious error. He is trying to own up to it. We will never know, I think, all the facts, but we want to make sure that he gets the help he needs. However, I don't know if this could be potentially the end of his career. That's how I see it, Evan. And I think he could hang up the skates after this incident. I don't think he's going to return this, just because there's really no more room for this kind of alleged behavior, right? And again, remember, alleged is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
I think he may retire, take some time off, get away from the spotlight, and return to the Bruins organization in some form or fashion if he doesn't go to Calgary, because I know he's been very open and enjoyed being there. So that's kind of my take on it. But go ahead.
And I wonder, before we move off of this topic with Lucic, if he does actually come back in time for the later part, last 10, 15 games, 20 games of the year, and come in for the playoffs as a fourth line or a 13th player, possibly at the end, as the end of his career, in order to get back. I can't see him coming and joining the franchise in some office role, coaching role, development role. If he doesn't even come back as a player, I think he needs to come back to redeem that part and talk and be an ambassador for people that have gone through stuff like him, which I think he could. He has that ability, because let's face it, a lot of people make mistakes. So while we're on this, let's go ahead. Hey, I noticed, Zylstra, you mentioned about Mike. I'm not sure what you're referring to by Mike. I'm not sure. Is a mic too quiet? Maybe let us know.
Mike.
Pavel's mic is...
Mike Modano, Mike Smith.
No, Pavel's mic is losing it. Oh, I think there might have been cracking or something earlier, but I think we're good.
Can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry, Zylstra.
Yeah.
So you don't even listen to my opinions, or you do, you just disagree. So this is just like a bonus. This is the Evan show.
Okay. Okay, so let's
I want to get your take something. So I want to jump.
Okay, I want to stick on the thing with fans talking about people, though.
Okay.
It's because we're talking about fans maybe coming up with some opinions around that. Jordan says his mic has been watching the Oilers game, I don't even know if we need to go there tonight. I am tired of talking about this team. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so let's just talk about what happens. It seems is play, and we talked about how fans can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and all that kind of stuff. But it does kind of limit them. I really wish that fans across leagues, it doesn't matter where it is, they like to call out a player's character. They're lazy. This is the words they use. They're lazy. They have no work ethic. Oh, by the way, that fan's sitting on his arse, sitting there with 5 beer already drowned down. They're like, come on. Hey, Key, what's up, man? Hey, Kyle, Jordan, Sil. Hey, guys, thanks for joining in. Hey, Albert, Rob. So I do want to make mention, listen, here is the issue. You're calling people's character out. You got your own problems. But why the heck are you calling out and slandering one person who tomorrow you're cheering them on as if they're the best player in the world? But then the next, like you're crazy. I get it. You're a fan and you're fanatical. But I think the problem that's happening in sports across the board is fans are sitting behind their computer. It's no longer grandma's basement or mom's basement. They now have their big, giant 50-inch screen TV all set up to their YouTube or to their X or whatever they are for our podcasting today. And they're sitting there critiquing, going away at everybody. Sounds like us truckers, Zill says. And while they're tweaking away and saying all this crap on people, they're doing the exact same things in their jobs. It's just like, okay, anyway, that's not even a rant.
I didn't realize two things about that. I didn't realize that we're doing a rant right now, but okay, I dig it. But I also didn't realize 50-inch TVs are big for you, Evan. So, okay, I thought they were like 75, 80. Like, that's the new standard, like those bigger, large TVs. I thought 50 inch was pretty mad. Yeah, that
I got an 85. I got an 85 behind me. So, yeah.
You know what? Fans will say what they want. Whether you take, credence in it or not, that's up to you. It's kind of like water off your mask. John is asking, let me guess, y'all think the Ducks make the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, with Edmonton out, potentially, the Ducks could have a chance. I mean, they had that 6-game, winning streak, and they beat Vegas, gave them one of their first regulation losses of the season. So I like the Ducks. I got to be honest with you, Evan. Watch Mason McTavish. That guy is a 200-foot player, excellent, and he is playing unreal. Troy Terry, solid. The only guy that really needs to get going on that team is Trevor Zegras, and he's been benched. Now, I want to talk about benching, and John, you can let me know if you agree with benching.
I got to read the comment out loud. John took the time to insult me, so I got to let him get his day. He says, with that bald head, a 45-inch tee will look big. So, hey, granted, man. If you got it, you got it. Fair enough. Pawel, Aaron jumped in here and said, Pawel, if you see this, I have a drink.
Good. Glad to see it, Aaron. So, Aaron can chime in as well as this, and you guys can let us know. Patrick Laine was a healthy scratch, not benched like Jonathan Huberdeau, which we can get into later. A healthy scratch. Now he has over 200 goals in the NHL, Evan, thus far. He's gone from Winnipeg to Columbus because he didn't want to be there. As the joke was, Columbus is the Winnipeg of Canada or the U.S., and Winnipeg is the Columbus of Canada. So anyway, do you think that was the right choice by Pascal Vincent? And what happens now with Columbus? Because they're struggling. Now, they're playing tonight versus Chicago. I think they're up still. But they've lost 9 in a row. Fun fact, they even have more points than the Edmonton Oilers. That's how bad it is. Yeah. But do you think they should have benched him? And how do you get him going as well as Johnny Gaudreau? Because Columbus, they need a win here.
Whew. Okay, before I do that, hey, just say hi to Cause out there. And Jordan wanted to make a comment before I get on this. Zegras is the next line, just an overpaid head case who can't play defense. The only difference is Zegras plays less for night.
And for those of you, Fortnite is an online MMO.
Plays less Fortnite. Okay. I thought that was the spelling error. I get it, Jordan. I get it. Okay. And Aaron, I just want to get your guys' comments in because sometimes it's hard to in between when you do got them. What else can you do to get a guy going? Columbus is underperforming largely due to their big guns like Laine and Gaudreau. Okay.
After that, they've lost Damon Severson now to injury, which that was a big thing last year. They lost a lot of manpower to injury. Go ahead, Evan.
Man games. Yep, I got you. Man, but just like names, you struggle. Okay, so
I admit.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks. Keep them rolling. We'll try and keep getting to your comments as we go through here. Okay, so when we're talking about Laine, it's interesting because we know in Edmonton and other places they're talking about what are ways that you can actually speak to guys, and it's with ice time. So you pull them off for a shift. You do this and that. He's had some shifts pulled back. The only thing left is putting him up top and giving him a game to look from the box. We know that when you see things from a different perspective, that helps. Interesting thing about the head case that is Patrick Laine, and I do call it a head case because he has a lot to say, but he seems to never get a good perspective of what is going on with the coaching situation. His comment, if people have not heard, is you can't gain confidence eating popcorn from the press box. Well, I'm sorry, Patrick Laine. I'd love to have you on my show. I know you'll never come on our show. So I'm not never. Actually, well, never say never. You know what? It's because a lot of people get their promotions after getting on our show. Maybe Patrick Laine needs to get on here and he can get out of the press box and back into the game, buddy. But listen, so here's the thing. There's nothing else left for him. And I'm worried if he can't get it, if he didn't understand why he went up top, if they haven't communicated that with him, what is his problem? Can I call it right now? Are you guys ready for this? Purely speculation, but I can read 1 + 1 = 2. If it's not Calgary, it'll be somewhere else. But expect Patrick Laine out of Columbus. They will try to trade him. He is a part of the cultural problem they're having in.
That's a big contract.
Oh, it is. But let's think about this right now. What are some issues they're having? What if they could get Lindholm and trade him out, sign him with Gaudreau? With Gaudreau, we got relationship. But it would have to be a sign and trade.
Yes.
Or what if they took Jonathan Huberdeau and then took something else in that package so that they got Laine and they got Huberdeau? You're exchanging packages of it. So I think there's something to be had. Heck, I wouldn't run it right now by the Edmonton Oilers to get Patrick Laine and give up something that is a better player. And by the way, we'll come to this in a little bit because I see Aaron mentioning, what do you think about benching Bouchard except for power plays and run 11-7 so you keep 60?
Yes. So
okay.
I did a little digging about Bouchard if people want to know.
Okay.
It turns out that when he played for the London Knights, so Evan, you'll like this because you follow.
I'm familiar with his game.
Allegedly, he was sheltered and minimized his 5-on-5 time on the ice, given how poorly he played defensively, and he was predominantly an offensive power play specialist, or as the online media like to call it, power play merchants. So really, I think they need to shelter him and give him something. He has shown flashes of brilliance. He has played over 201 games, I think it is now. So the guy does still have some talent. The problem is he needs to learn how to play smart. He has the tool kit. My issue is I don't see it on the ice. I see laziness. And I agree with Aaron. You should bench him for a game. Woodcroft probably wanted to bench him, but I have a feeling somewhere in the upper echelon of the Oilers organization, they said no. But anyways.
Okay, let's go back.
I could see him being traded. Look for someone who needs a quick, easy goal on the wing and who can make that work. Because, again, that's a lot of cap space. I'm looking at a team like Carolina. Carolina needs scoring. Okay. Think about somewhere like that. And Rob Brind'Amour can really get the best out of his players. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing so good at that D'Angelo decision. Let's go back to Columbus because our hockey fans are still talking about it. Jordan says Columbus decor looking solid. So far, Provorov and Werenski looking solid. Problem is scoring for that team right now, and I agree. And that's why I do see a change with don't expect Gaudreau to go. Gaudreau, I think that there is a hockey cultural problem since the whole Babcock situation. There is divisiveness that is in that. This is my guess. Guess. There's a divisiveness that goes on that affects the psyche. And even Zylstra has popped in here and said Fantilli's growth is going to suffer with Columbus. She's worried about some of his growth because of what's going on.
Yes and no. I think that kid loves playing in Columbus. He was expected to be drafted by them. I think he's going to thrive there. I think I understand what people are saying. My only inclination with that, and I understand they don't have enough centers, put him on the wing. What do you do when you're a young center in the league? You put him on the wing to adjust to the role. Being a center in the NHL is a lot of work. Being on the wing is a little bit easier to ease you into it. We saw that and I'm going to go back to Carolina with Kotkaniemi. Came over. He's normally a center. That's what he was drafted at for Montreal Canadiens. Yeah. He was put on the wing by Brind'Amour. Again, being mindful of that. So it's interesting to see what happens. But you know what? We talk about, what's it called? We talk about accountability and potentially people losing their jobs. Not that it's an easy conversation. I see, what's it called? The GM of the Columbus Blue Jackets potentially losing his job because he made these decisions.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Aaron says... No. I'm just laughing. It's a joke, right? You're bang on, Evan. Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Sometimes I kind of have an idea. Some players leak Babcock's actions. Others tried to cover it up. The room isn't united anymore. And I will say this, Aaron, though, in full disclosure, there is some innocence to what Babcock did, and it wasn't as tragic. There's a difference of opinion of some. So that's why he screwed up, because in today's day and age, you can't coach the same, and he still didn't get it. I totally get that, but that's the problem, because the two people that were okay with it, we're talking about Boone Jenner and Goudreau. They had no issue with it, and they'll stick by those words.
Yeah.
But there is rumor. I might as well. Should I share who disclosed this?
Please.
Okay, so it's been given to me from, okay, guys, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 sources and 3 that I trust, that Fantilli was one of the people that actually had his phone looked at. And so I can't verify that because, again, this is rumor. It's only by sources and connections. Through 2 of them are in the Columbus organization, kind of distanced a bit. So it's not like I know the players themselves or anything like that, but some people in that connection. So it's interesting for that whole bit. I cannot believe we're still talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is crazy. This is good. Can I say this? A team doing bad, Edmonton doing bad, Columbus doing bad. When Toronto does bad, do you guys realize that this makes hockey news? As much as I have now, as an Oiler fan myself, I have got so sick of it. I don't even want to watch the games or pay the money or do anything anymore. And people say, you're a bandwagon fan. No, I'm tired of my heart getting broken and being so full of anxiety. And other players of teams like Columbus and all these other teams are the same. And you get to a point of disappointment. So
I want to address that because I've had this conversation.
Okay, can let John come in? He says Blue Jackets suck more than Arizona.
John, feel free to come on the show. Clearly, Evan wants to replace me. So, yeah. I've enjoyed what Arizona has done this year. So, my one critique that I hear, and I have this argument a lot with people, is that, well, they suck. I'm not going to turn it in. I like teams that even last year Oilers lost. Every team loses. Very few teams, as fans like to joke, they're not going to go 82-0, right? The Vancouver Canucks, I wrote about them this week and how well they're doing. They've lost. They lost to the Philadelphia Flyers, who are in a wild card spot, and my other favorite team, so I've enjoyed watching them. Again, it's the competitive level that you bring to each game, and there's a difference between losing, 4-2, 3-1, 5-3, whatever be it, odd empty net goal. But it's the effort of it. And when you see teams not put the effort in, then that's what's disappointing because fans are taking a night out, 3+ hours to pay for parking, pay for accommodations, potentially if they're staying close, paying for a concession, paying for the ticket, and trying to see a good winning product. Now, they bring their whole family. That's an expensive night. Do you really want to dish out $400+ for a night just to see your team lose 6-3 or 5-1? No. Now, John, I want to get into that comment because
what does he say?
He says, who's better, Pens or Kings? Now, last week we talked about this, and I harped for a while on Evan for the fact that the Pens have not been very good. And he's asking who's better, the Pittsburgh Penguins or the Carolina Hurricanes? Now, the easy answer would be the Carolina Hurricanes, although they've had their struggles. I will give credence because I've gone back and watched all of the games thus far that Pittsburgh has played, and I give credence that Pittsburgh right now is a little bit better. I think Evan was right. They are struggling with a few little things, tweaks in there, but I am not discounting Crosby and Malkin. They have been phenomenal, and the way Crosby still plays at his age, I can see why you would consider him on the top Mount Rushmore. But your thoughts, Evan. So I was wrong. I'll admit it. The one time you get it out of me this season, it only took 12 episodes. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
Okay. Man, you guys are just rolling them out tonight. Okay. I want to acknowledge you guys. John's back on, man. Like John, the one that I want to replace you were talking about.
Yes.
He says, I want to see the baby oil on that smooth head. You knew we got to break the ice. Oh my gosh. You must be in love with me there, John. You keep commenting on my head. Baby, you can rub her down. Okay. Let me just kind of come back to this. So Zill also makes a comment. Pens will never go anywhere while they hold on to agers. And I am going to disagree with Zill. And by the way, so those that don't know, when we're going through, Zill and Pawel have this little battle. So Zill doesn't give a crap what Pawel says, and Pawel doesn't give a crap what Zill says. But they still share whatever they want, and it's one of those long-time feuds here on episode. And Zill is also known as the Lost Trucker, and sometimes will be checking in. And you'll notice, Zill, I'll get your remark on the Canucks because we got to come to them. They have been a total shock and surprise to the league. We'll talk about them in a bit. And I see that you wrote some stuff. We know you're a trucker and we know you're driving. So your little H2O and EP40, don't know what it means. I'm sure you're talking to text or something here. So John does say, before I answer, what pens win with old timers? What you talking? Okay. So
John,
go ahead.
He's talking about the fact that the Pittsburgh Penguins are one of the oldest teams in the league, with essentially hitting the mid-30 marks to later. Riley Smith, Bailey Malkin, Sidney Crosby, Jeff Carter, who's 37, if not 38, if I recall. You guys can correct me in the comments. Like, they've got an older group. Now, they have a few young bloods, but a lot of their guys are not young. And you need young, fresh blood in this league to be competitive and fast. That being said, they're still competitive, although they're down tonight versus the Rangers, who, let's be honest, Evan, the Rangers, they're looking like a steal for a potential cup contender.
Whoa, what happened to me talking about the Penguins?
I just wanted to add my comment. Go ahead. I'm letting you
I'm
know. I'm
teasing you.
I'm teasing you.
Okay. No, that's good. We'll come back to that.
Everyone, take this in. Evan hates the Rangers.
Oh, man. You guys are jacked tonight. Oh my goodness. Listen to these guys. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So this is the thing. I know. I have always believed that the Penguins with experience and Ager Zylstra, and to those that don't believe in the Penguins, the age and wisdom and experience are going to get them to the playoffs. And then once they hit the playoffs, it's will they hit a hot streak? They do not have the defense for that team, and they do not have the depth for that team because they spend a lot of money basically in their top 2D and their top four. Yeah, Eric Carlson, Chris Letang, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Jake Guentzel.
He's up this year. He's going to be a potential UFA, I think. He's going to get paid.
So, but and then of course they got an okay pay coming out of Tristan Jarry, but it's the age of all the players that they're talking about, and I do think that they'll get there. I'm not thinking there will be anything other than a wild card. I cannot imagine they're going to be up and down. I think they'll end up with basically about 97, 98 points by season end. I think they're going to get better as the season goes on because they have the experience, and that's just my opinion. So. John says Evan hates the Rangers. Where's my lollipop ring for you? Oh my God!
See, it's working. I told
so
you.
I don't hate the Rangers. I just can't stand the organization.
Wow.
And John, let me give you a heads up.
Working with Alex Thomas, you still hate the Rangers. Alex, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
So John, we worked with Alex Thomas, who is the play-by-play for the Hartford Wolfpack of the AHL. Before the AHL, he actually
Oilers head coach was coaching.
Yeah. Well, and also now in New York, exactly, is we got Howie Draper, who used to be the U of A in New York. I love the Islanders, but they're a mess. So it's not New York. I love the city of New York. But the Rangers, I've always felt like they're overhyped. They're like the Maple Leafs. They're overhyped. I like the players on the team. I like that, but I don't like Chris Drury's leadership. And we got dissed by the management and not allowed their AHL play-by-play guy to come join us anymore. So I have a personal vendetta with the team.
The Rangers. I think they're fun.
Okay.
I think they're fun.
And if you go back, John, we've also had some of their key podcast followers on, which you can go back to our former guests.
We have.
Okay.
Now what I will say is it looks like Panarin is much faster since he shaved his head this offseason. So clearly everyone in the Edmonton Oilers should really just shave their heads because they'll be all so much faster.
Okay, so Zils,
like the 45 bald one.
Look at this. I will agree. Pens do better than Oilers.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course they are. They're way better.
Okay. Are you ready for a hot take? I don't have a hot take. Maybe we got to put a little segment on, guys.
Let's do it.
I do not have a segment for a little intro of hot take, but I'll improvise it for today, and I'll build a hot take for our segment, and it's sponsored. Okay. So, hot take. Okay, hot take is brought to you by the Kalkaska Battlers of the Michigan Independence Hockey League, where Andrew Dibble, the owner of the first year entry into the fourth year inaugural season. It's their inaugural season, fourth year for the Michigan Independence. The Kalkaska Battlers are one of our partners here at Two Guys in Hockey Talk. So if you're in Northern Michigan, check out Kalkaska. go to their website, you go to the YouTube, kalkaskabattlers.com. Check out, and you can follow all of their actions. So hot take, here we go. The Edmonton Oilers, and I'm not going to answer anything for you guys, but this is what I'm ready to tell you for a hot take. Get it ready to expect for anyone who likes or hates the Oilers for a trade within the next 2 to 3 weeks that you will not like, that you're going to hate that trade for the player that's leaving. You might like the player coming in, but you're going to hate the player going out. That's my hot take of the night.
Wow. So cryptic. I mean, I think I know who you're referring to, but sure. We'll let you guys see what once it happens. Now, enough about the Oilers. Let's talk about...
You want to go to the Canucks?
Well, in a sec. I want to talk about William Nylander because he has been dynamite overseas. He has been phenomenal and has scored two beautiful goals.
Can I put you on hold for a sec? But I want to advertise this. I need to advertise this for our sponsors. So, guys, Around the Rink is presented to you by Penny Billionaires. We are the rights holders of the exclusive song that is our intro and our exit song called Invincible. Check it out, Penny Billionaires. Go follow them on all forms of music. Check out Penny Billionaires. Okay, so can I just write this? Dill said, oh, hang on. Hey, let me get this in here. She says that we need to bench you tonight.
Bench me? That's fine. I'd rather have an early night in, that I could just chill and relax, hang out with my kiddo. I'm okay with it. Sponsor shot, cream cake for $2. Like American bucks? Canadian bucks?
All right, man. Go around the rink because you're crossing over the seas. So let's talk.
So, William Nylander. Evan, the price just keeps going up and up. The kid has been phenomenal. He is going to get a payday. He is. I'm sorry to say. He had a phenomenal overseas experience. Granted, we talked about this last week. I think the whole Sweden experience was wonderful. I do want to ask you, though, one question, because I know it's been brought up in one of those hot takes that I've seen online. Who do you believe is the best Swedish player of all time? I know I'm just throwing you in the what's it called? In the ropes here. Is it Lidstrom? Or is it Peter Forsberg?
Wow.
Or is it somebody else? You guys can let us know who the best Swedish player ever is. Because you want somebody to represent Swedish hockey. And I know they've talked about a World Cup of hockey with 4 teams, maybe 6 teams. We'll see how it goes. Who's your team captain right now? Is it William Nylander? Is it Roman Josi? Who is that?
Wow. That is a man. Okay. Can I have a double-edged answer?
We'll get to that. So I'll let you think on that. Now, I want to talk because I know we wanted to talk about the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
So we got an article up today. I got one about the Rick Tocchet effect / the Patrick Allvin effect. The Vancouver Canucks are rolling. They're my wife's team. They're my family's team from my in-laws. My brother-in-laws love it. They heart me all the time. They send me messages saying, hey, Pawel, how about them Oilers? There are no Vancouver Canucks. And it hurts. It really hurts. But I am liking what the Vancouver Canucks are doing. Their top guys are going. Elias Pettersson, who has a contract coming up, UFA. Evan, what is he going to command? Is he going to get what Matthews did? A 4-year agreement so that he can get paid at 29/30 when he turns? Or is he going to go for the 8-year deal? And you know how fans are when a player signs a 4-year deal. Oh, the guy doesn't want to stay. He doesn't want to be here. He just signed 4 years, but okay. Your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks so far, Rick Tocchet, and all the trades Patrick Allvin has done. Go ahead.
So, okay, before I do it, I got to mention Jordan says that Roman Josi is Swiss, but he said Swiss Swede, same thing.
Is Roman Josi? I thought Roman Josi was.
Yeah, I believe he is from Switzerland, actually, too.
Switzerland.
So, it was Ekholm that actually was the Swede that played with the Swiss.
Apologize.
No.
I was wrong. I apologize.
So Jordan, here's the thing: when you spend these many hours on live screen and everyone hears you everywhere, we're more vulnerable than ever. So it's easy to make those mistakes.
Jordan, I owe you a beer next time. That's a guarantee for being wrong.
Okay, Zilcher says she's getting upset about talking, throttling
Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, it's production. And which makes sense to keep the contract lower. I just put that up there. She mentioned that earlier in the show, so I just wanted to give that some heat. And so here's the thing. What was the question?
There's many that I've thrown at you. What are your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks, and who is the best Swedish player ever?
Okay, Canucks.
Lindstrom or Forsberg?
Okay, Canucks. Let me go to this. So this is like incredible. For the first time in history, through the first, let's just call it the first 18 games in history, in the first 18 games, is there 3 players in the top 4 goal point getters in the entire NHL in the first 18 games of any NHL season in the history of the Vancouver Canucks. They've never had that. Think about this. You have Quinn Hughes at 30 points in 19 games. In 19 games, you got 29 points for Miller. And then Pettersson at 19 games, you have 28 points. So 28, 29, and 30 sitting there. And then what's crazy is you have these guys sitting there. Now, Pettersson's on his goal scoring. He's got 8. You got Miller at 12, Hughes with 8. And their shot percentage of goal scoring is only between now Miller's off the roof. He's 27.9. I expect him to drop drastically. Do not expect him on the rate that he's looking at right now. I expect him to maybe pot about 40 by the year end. But interesting enough, it's like absolutely insane. And then you have Brock Besser with 22 and 19. Again, it's historical making. This team is not a wild card team. This team is the real thing, and this team is actually going to be challenging for, I believe, by end of season. They are a trade away. Here is a possibility. They could be finding a way to unload Myers, pay something in the future, and pick up even a stronger defensive defenseman to replace Myers back there, and that could be a big deal.
Calgary?
I am excited with what they're going. What's that?
Back? What are your thoughts from Calgary? Chris Tanev returning back.
I actually see Tanev going to Toronto.
Okay.
I see him going to Toronto. There's a lot. I do see a potential of a Zadorov potential because you're talking about a big defenseman. Now, guys, I have not checked out lefty or right D. You can Jordan knows all those things. He's our analytical guru. So he comes on and
Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek there, right? So back and forth. And Quinn plays left, Hronek plays right? So I know that. I'm trying to think of
Myers. I believe plays a left defense. I believe. No.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if that's the case.
Yeah.
But Calgary's a good trade right now. They're looking for something in the future, and Canucks are ready to go. They're ready to go.
Well, in the last little bit, Jonathan Huberdeau has been really going. He's got a few points in the last few games, so he's been going. So it's interesting to see. You guys have to let us know your best Swedish player because Evan can't say anything.
No, I do have it.
Okay. Oh, you do.
Okay. Double-edged sword though. I'm going to say the best overall player is Nicholas Lindstrom. No, Nicholas Lindstrom in all-time history. I'm going to say just because of what he achieved, everything. But if you tell me the best skilled player of all time, it's Peter Forsberg. Ooh. His injuries took him out of the running for best all time.
What about Matt Sundin? No credit in the left.
Sundin's a top 5, but he has never been a number 1 best all-time Swede. I like the guy. You know what? I think his career was. Sorry, Maple Leaf fans. I think his career was hurt.
What about the Sedin twins?
Playing in Toronto.
We're talking about Vancouver. What about the Sedin twins? Do you like them?
I actually do. I like them again.
Let's divide the fan base.
Well, and you know, when you're dealing with that, you got to also talk about guys like Hawk and Lou back in the day. You got to talk about guys like Matt Snaslin. You got to. I mean, there's a plethora of different people that you can find of Swedes over the years and goalies when you're talking about too, right? You know, around. Look at my TV. I must have been taking a while. Everything's changing up on me here. So,
all right. Evan, where are we? All right. Next?
Okay. So why don't we do this? I want to go to some hockey development.
Sure.
I'm going to have to go change my TV. So I'm going to step out for a minute because I don't want a rock castle behind me over the next little while. But let's do this, okay? I want you to break down. You ready?
All right.
I want you to break down Russian players of all time. Give them your top 3 while I give myself a 30-second break.
Oh,
Russian players. Now, this is Pawel. Pawel's not into Russian players. When I mean not into, I don't mean a relationship. I'm talking about playing with people, okay? All right, guys. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, since Evan has left us, it's just us. So thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and on our Twitter at hockey_2 or Evan at REV. Top best Russian players. I mean, Alex Ovechkin is probably top 5, given how much he's scored and chasing Gretzky's record. Sergei Gonchar, pretty elite. Pawel Bure, just because he has the best name ever. I mean, how can you not with that name? He's been elite. Ooh, Evgeny Malkin. Evgeny Malkin is up there. I think he was snubbed from the top NHL 100 best players. Historically, I gotta think. I gotta think of older Russian players that have played. There's been so many, Evan. Like there's
okay.
Who
do you got? Who do you got? I missed a couple seconds of that.
So I said Ovechkin is in the top 5, of course, given his record. Sergei Gonchar, just for what he's done in terms of. Evgeny Malkin, and then that's when you jumped right back in.
Let me throw out some names.
Older players.
Igor Larionov.
Sergei Fedorov. I would say Sergei Fedorov is up there. I think Fedorov has had an excellent career. Best ever, not best NHL, best ever.
Okay, Dill, you got to know that Pawel never followed Patrick Conway, who writes for Two Guys in Hockey Talk. By the way, he had a wonderful article up, but we're having some problems on the website. I'll probably be up a day late. Patrick, if you're following on this, we're just going to work with our website guy and take care of that. Should we advertise our website guy right now?
We should. And Robert Pawel is watching, I think, from Saskatchewan. Good to see you, Robert.
Hey, great to have you, Robert. So anyway, guys, if you want to actually follow a lot of our material, you can actually go over to our website at JR Web Designs. And so at twoguysinhockeytalk.com, you can find all of our articles. We do write articles each week. We try to keep up as much as possible with our different folks, but specifically, and by the way, a wonderful price. If you're starting up your own website, you want to get a great price. They do an incredible job.
Looking at you, your website is down. Sports Empire, get on it.
Oh my goodness, there you guys go. So anyway, but Patrick Conway follows it. So Zill, he's not. So I was going to call you Zill, but Pawel does not follow those guys. So I'm going to say Varlamov.
Really?
Varlamov, Harmelov, probably the best Russian ever to play hockey. But he was a Soviet.
I'm going to end the debate once and for all. The best, I mean, I said Pawel Bure, but I'm going to say Pavel Datsyuk, John Avicii, because Pawel has the best name. Pavel Datsyuk that's why. End of the discussion.
Pawel Bure, Pavel Datsyuk, Pavel Dimitra. Oh, hang on, even though he's not Russian.
No. He's in Boston. There's a guy, Pavel Zacha. There you go. All the Pawels.
Pavel Zacha. Okay.
And Mogilny, yes, I would say Mogilny, who, let's be honest, belongs in the Hall of Fame. It is a crime that he is not in the Hall of Fame, but that's just me.
That's absolutely ridiculous. So,
but the way, so you know what, guys, watch Draisaitl, because the way Datsyuk played is how Draisaitl emulates his game. It is so fun to watch how he dangled players. He would lift the stick while he was going to the net. He was so smart. He could read the game and see the game so well. Pavel Datsyuk, probably one of the best players. Ken Holland, you had a legend on your hands.
Wow. That's cool. Okay. All right. Let's go to my Revs top 15 for our number 9 player. Hey guys, Evan Rev Runners here with our top 15 NHL 2024 NHL prospects. So something to always realize is when I give my top 15 each year, it's what I see as a projection in their careers, who of that draft class will end up by the end of their career. So, I mean, injuries aside and, failed accomplishments like Jesse Pujärvi and so forth, will always happen. The Nile Yakupovs will always happen. The Alexander Daigs will always happen. But generally speaking, try to do it. I know Zill called me out last week, I think on my 2020 class when I got back. But Zill, I got to say, I've been off for 5 years before mentioning anything to anyone. So just wasn't as good. Okay, so I just want to bring up a name. It's interesting when we talk about players. I have been mentioning defenseman after defenseman, and I want to give you a defenseman that could go earlier, but I think is going to drop a little bit. His name is Adam Jiricek, and you may pronounce it. I am not really Jiricek. There you go. His brother plays. His brother David actually plays now.
New Jersey.
Is it Jersey?
Columbus?
He got drafted by? Yeah. Okay.
Columbus.
Columbus. What are you talking about? I was going to say Columbus. He said New Jersey.
It took me a second. Sorry.
Yeah, all those cities, they look alike. Okay, guys. So Adam is a really good player. So he's not he's not an excellent. You're already hitting a number 9. So now you're going to find some deficiencies in the game of the player. But this guy has a 4-way mobility. When I say 4-way, that means he has the lateral east-west movement. He can move on his edges and literally get a low ride. I mean, he could stick his hand down and touch the ice as he skates around. He has that ability, but he's also explosive forward and back. And he has a very active disposition is what most people are saying. And his shooting mechanics are really agile and very balanced. He has an eye, very good vision. And he knows the gap space for identifying opportunities, knowing when to press and when to come back. And those are traits that are not often found in your different players. So he feels maybe a little more raw than some of the other defensemen that are actually out there. But remember, he comes from a family that's been working on their craft. They've been working with, again, this player is a Czech player, so he's been working on that craft in a country that's all about hockey, though, too. He's not as big. He's not as physical as his brother, but here's the key. He is a better skater overall. So I do look for him to be coming out. He's not having an exceptional season for points, but this is going to be a defensive defenseman who knows how to get the puck out and will have good, fast transition. That's really
a parent of 2 children who potentially can make the NHL.
Oh, I know.
That is, I'm looking at the Hughes family, and it's not like their dad is like, what is it their dad is feeding them? What Cheerios are you eating?
I don't know. Guys, David Jiricek, number 9.
So,
hey, buddy.
Zilstra had a good question. You should put
okay,
it up.
Let me look for it. Let me see if I got it.
Which of your Rev top 15 has been the most successful in terms of rankage? Because that would be interesting to assess, to see how smart you really are when it comes to prospects, Evan.
Okay, let me go back there on just a moment while you're talking on some subject. Do you have a subject you want to talk on?
Oh, there's so many things to discuss. So let's talk about the Minnesota Wild. We haven't talked about Minnesota in a bit. Minnesota, what is happening? Is Dean Evason on the chopping block? Because clearly you have been struggling and your goaltending has not been what it was last year. Now, is there a potential trade with Marc-Andre Fleury at his age, coming up on 41 years of age? Or do you go with Philip Gustafsson and continue to ride that hot trail where, he struggled, but, he was an elite goalie last year. What does Bill Guerin do, Evan? Does Minnesota make the playoffs this year? They have been struggling. It's been tough, right? Like, it's an interesting go of it, especially since they signed a lot of their veterans. And Kirill Kaprizov, I think he's been all right. He hasn't been the best. So, not to mention the other team that's on the hot seat. I don't want to talk bad about every team because I love every team. I enjoy every team. Lane Lambert and New York Islanders. I mean, I know they won their last game, but come on, they've struggled. They have really just thrown everything. And is there something there? Would Lou Lamoriello move? I know Lou is the quietest man in the NHL. We don't know anything until he actually picks up the phone and says, this is happening, even though he's done it a few days earlier. So, yeah, a lot of questions. surrounding
fair.
the New York Islanders, definitely that team needs some work. I would gather that they may make a trade, but what does that look like? I mean, they got Bo Horvat, but
yeah. Zill makes a good point. She goes, the Wild are in trouble. I heard Guerin is probably gone. I think he's got one more coach. He's got one more coach for sure before he's gone. And the reason is they got to be patient because they got those big contracts still that they're paying off on Suter and Zach Parise still, right?
I want to talk about a team that I like. Oh, there's
you got to read.
It's true to some extent, but I want to talk about a team that's doing pretty good. The Colorado Avalanche. When they turn it up to an 11, Evan, they go hard. And Cale Makar, just like Quinn Hughes, 30-plus points on the season. He's been rolling. The Colorado Avalanche are steamrolling. They're playing hard. I like what I'm seeing. They are still missing, I got to be honest, Gabe Landeskog, but I don't know if they can ever replace that leadership and that role of what he brings. I really don't. Yeah.
That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely.
I got to be honest with you, Evan. This season, we're almost into American Thanksgiving. So happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Okay, thank you.
Whoever celebrates.
Not till May.
This is how wild it is. So American Thanksgiving, as Brian Burke used to say, if you know that you're close within a playoff spot, you're most likely going to win and get into the playoffs. Now, some teams are out, some teams are close, some teams are playing above expectancy. But if you look at what's been going on, this season has been a whirlwind. This has not been what people expected for a lot of teams, Oilers included. You know, the New Jersey Devils, they've struggled a bit, Evan. The Flyers in a wild card position. They're actually technically in the second, or I think they're in the second place.
They're in second wild card. They have a wild card spot right now.
Is this season? It's just bonkers. Yeah. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Well, and actually, if you even think of Detroit, everyone was counting Detroit out. People were saying they don't like the moves in Detroit, what Yzerman's doing.
They struggled in Sweden.
But they're still 9-6-3, man. They got 21 points in 18 games. So, they're tied essentially with Philadelphia right now. I mean, and now they're 3 points up on both Pittsburgh and Buffalo. And Buffalo was supposed to make a move by now. There was a lot of hope, aspirations. I know Hughes has been out, but they've only got 500 hockey after 7. I'm not worried about those guys, but let's face it. And you know what? Frankly, the New York Islanders at 500 hockey, at 17 points in 17 games, keeping themselves in there, considering the team that they have and what they're struggling. I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So anyway, and Arizona, they're 500 hockey. Good for them. And what's happening to Nashville too?
They're an enigma. They're an enigma. I don't know what's happening there.
And everybody expected San Jose. So, hey, let me go back. So you were asking, Zill was asking the question on my Revs top 15 on some of the stuff. And so I just kind of went back. So you were talking about with Nathan McKinnon and stuff. So if
Gabriel
I go back,
Landeskog and Cale Makar.
So Cale Makar's later on in the years that I wasn't actually doing. I had 5 years where I took a hiatus from hockey. So now I put my rankings in 2011 when I first started. I had done it previously, but I never listed it. So you can look at it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but in my top 15, I'll just give you the players. I had Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and then Gabriel Landeskog, Sean Couturier, Adam Larson, Mark Scheifele, Jonathan Huberdeau, Dougie Hamilton, Jonas Berdin, Mika Zibanejad, Ryan Strome, Joel Armia, Boone Jenner, Brandon Saad, Ryan Murphy, and Sven. So I got about 10 of those, and I would say so far the best career out of all of those, in my opinion. In the end, I think that it's going to be close because I think Hopkins, Landeskog, Couturier, Scheifele, and Dougie Hamilton and Zibanejad are going to be fairly close in that group. Now, interesting enough, when it comes to the 1 year, I actually took in 2014 Sam Reinhart, Aaron Ekblad, Leon Draisaitl, Ehlers, Sam Bennett. Where did I go? That, and then I blew it. William Nylander, I had at 13. He's looking to probably be the second best player behind Draisaitl in that one. But I will say my drafting in 2021 looks pretty good in that I actually have Powers, Bernier, Brandt Clark.
Yeah.
We got Luke Hughes, Mason McTavish, Kent Johnson.
I think Luke Hughes goes up. I think he goes up with time. Yeah. He's been playing 20 plus minutes tonight. I
still think Power will be the best of all of them in his career.
Agreed.
And I look for Brandt Clark to get some traction soon.
LA has been a juggernaut. Congrats to LA for being as good as they are.
And New York, get ready next year for Othman. Brennan Othman's going to be ready. They've been working with him closely. And so that's going to be good. And expect Jesper Wallstedt, the goalie, to start playing soon. And I do expect, I am a little disappointed in Kent Johnson, though, with it. But I'll tell you,
Columbus,
and you know what?
A lot of pressure.
I can actually tell you when I watched, and even in the 2021, I actually had Tim Stützle as number 2. But I wanted to put him ahead of Lafreniere, but everything said Lafreniere. And Lafreniere's doing much better this year. He's still not like a number 1. No, he's not like a number 1 with this many years.
Stützle goes number 1 if he was.
Yeah. And I do think that Lucas Raymond at 7 should have been probably ranked around 4 or 5.
Yes.
100%. And Jake Sanderson at 8 probably could be around the 5-6.
He's getting there. He's getting there in Ottawa.
And I will say I have Seth Jarvis also at 14 in there.
Oh, great player.
The player that unfortunately is not going to get to show you, I had him at 12, and I think he could have been an 8 or 9. And that was unfortunately with his death, Rodion Amirov. That guy was amazing. So, but yeah, some draft years are not as good as others. So, hey, let's finish with one piece.
Sure.
I actually want to pull this one out a little bit. And so let's go in our last 3 minutes for a super fast rant. Ready? Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to talk about USA development versus Hockey Canada. This is absolutely insane. Hockey Canada sits on their backside and has stopped developing players. They haven't done a lot of anything to change the way they do hockey. It's like they sit on their laurels. In the meantime, the U.S. is taking over in hockey development. You're saying, are you sure? Actually, just released in the TSN top 50 U24 players.
Yes.
In the NHL, 20 players are from the U.S. and number 2 is Canada at 15, followed by Russia. Now, get this.
There was no Finnish players.
Oh, it is incredibly sick. U.S. development right now is pulling players out from nowhere. They're pulling them out. Now, the BCHL, Hockey Canada has blown it with the BCHL, who's been working and developing the most NCAA players. And now players are coming from the United States into the BCHL, knowing they have NCAA shots. So the U.S. is saying, let's send some of our players up to Canada because we're developing them well now, even in our younger years in our high school. But we want them back in the NCAA to develop. And so we're going to send them to the junior leagues. The Alberta Junior Hockey League has picked it up. Saskatchewan and Manitoba have. I'm going to be doing some research into Ontario and Quebec to see what their junior leagues are doing. Are they getting U.S. hockey players? The U.S. hockey development has been doing a phenomenal job. Texas, all the places. There's teams sponsoring teams. Anyway, my rant is that Hockey Canada, suck it up, make some changes, and don't be so stubborn and start developing players again.
The only thing I would add is what has happened to Canadian goaltending. There has not been quality goaltending coming out of Canada. It's mostly come out of Russia. Russia has become a goalie factory amongst maybe the U.S. You're looking at some of the top goalies right now in the league. Thatcher Demko, Connor Hellebuck. That's where it is. Hulk Hogan tights. Oh, those must be really tight. Go Bruins. Yes, we talked about the Bruins at the beginning of the show. The Bruins they're defying everything. They're defying gravity. But what I look at it as, Evan, is that Canada needs to be better also at the goaltending position because really there hasn't been much. Now, I will give credence to Mackenzie Blackwood out in San Jose, who has played very well for that team, given all their struggles. Yeah. But really, name me a Canadian goaltender beyond Carey Price and Fleury that have really excelled at their position in the NHL recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been tough.
It's been a long time, and our goalie development has actually hurt for quite a while. Yeah, in Canada. So it's funny when everyone wants to say how great a job that Canada does. It's just like, I was just talking to someone recently, and if you're listening, I apologize. I won't use your name, but they were saying on how hockey, Canadians, like the high percentage of Canadians, the percentage is going down in the NHL, and it's being spread out more, which is a good thing. It's a really good 100%. Thing. But it maybe once was hockey is super dominant. It's very dominant in smaller countries with less population, but it's changing. It's changing.
Now, I know the NHL is looking at, and we talked a little bit about it last year, so this is kind of my mini rant. Yes, I'm almost done, I promise, of a World Cup of hockey with 4 teams, maybe 6. What is this 4 teams? And I understand the whole geopolitical situation with Russia. You can have a separate team that kind of has under the umbrella of Russian flag, whatever. Like, you can have still those players because quite a few good players from Russia.
If they're NHL players, why not? Yeah. They already play.
But why are you having 4-16? What are you talking about to Czech Republic, Slovakia, Germany? What are you telling these countries that they're not good enough to compete? BS. Gary Bettman, I'm looking at you. BS.
Yeah. Man, guys, it's been a jam-packed show. Great having you. Thank you for all the interaction. It's been fabulous. And in the famous words of the great Ed Whalen, it's been a ring-a-ding-dong-dandy. But in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe. Remember to like and share and subscribe. We love you all. Stay safe.
Cheers.
Could that just put him over the edge?
I'm not too sure. I don't think they did well.
He's a bully.
I'm just so sick and tired. I'm hanging on a wire, a foot over the fire, and it's burning. I can feel it inside. Done with the same cliche. Done with the day after day. There's got to be a way. Now is the time to break the tie. I'll live, I'll die for what is wrong and what is right. I'll take the pain for all the ones without a name. To be invincible, we'll be invincible.
They still have a lot of holes to fill.
He didn't get fired. He didn't get fired. No, he didn't get fired. He never got